Okay, the next few problems we're going to be trying to figure out if the sequence is arithmetic or geometric, and then we'll put an N for neither. So one of two things is going to happen. I'm looking at this pattern and I see 2, 4, 8, 16. So I want to know, is it arithmetic or geometric? And I'm going to tell you the difference between both of those. So arithmetic, I'm just going to put A. It means I'm going to add or subtract the same value every time. Geometric means I'm going to multiply or divide the same value every time. So I'm just going to put quotation marks. That's the same thing. So same thing as above. So looking at this pattern, it is getting bigger. 2, 4, 8, 16. So it's either going to be adding or it's going to be multiplying. The way I do that is I'm going to do the opposite every single time. I'm going to take the bigger and subtract. So I'm going to do 4 minus 2, and that gives me 2. All right, so now I'm going to do the next two, 8 and 4. So I'm going to do 8 minus 4, and that gives me 4. Okay, so this is not the same. Okay, so that means one time the difference was 2, the next time the difference was 4, so it's not going to be arithmetic because it's not adding 2 every time. Because that one added 2, this one added 4, and so the pattern is broken there. All right, so now I'm going to try geometric. Okay, so geometric says either I'm multiplying or dividing by the same. So the way I figure that out is I'm going to divide these two. So I'm going to take the bigger and divide the smaller. So I'm going to do 4 divided by 2. That gives me 2. I'm going to do the next two numbers. I'm going to do 8 divided by 4. That gives me 2. Okay, so I divided twice and I got 2. So that means 2 is the common multiple, okay, because I came up twice. And so in order to confirm that, I'm going to take 2, start with the first one, and if I multiply that by 2, I get 4. And then I'm going to take 4, and if I multiply that by 2, I get 8, which is the next number. And if I take 8 and I multiply that by 2, I get 16. Okay, so if I continue to do this, 16 times 2 will give me 32. And if I do 32 times 2, that gives me 64. So these will be the next two numbers we're looking for. I'm sorry, I wrote off the screen. Didn't realize that. Okay, so I'm going to write 32 in this box, and then I'm going to write 64 in this box. And now that I know that we were multiplying every time, I'm just going to put a G right here. I want you to put either A for arithmetic, G for geometric, or N for neither. All right, so now I have another sequence. This time I'm looking at these numbers and it looks like they're getting smaller. So I start with a big number and I end up with a smaller number. So I got 486. And then I got 162. 54, 18. All right, so since this is getting smaller, I know I need to subtract or divide. So I'm looking at the difference between here. It's almost 300. So if I subtract 300 and then I subtract 300 here, there's no way I'm going to get 54. So I know just looking at it, it's not going to be arithmetic, so I'm going to try geometric. Again, I'm going to take the bigger and divide the smaller. So this time, instead of me going right to left, I'm going left to right. So I know that I would end up dividing because the numbers are getting smaller, not multiplying. But you still use division to figure it out. geometric, you would still use subtraction to figure out if it's arithmetic, but you can tell that you would have to add or subtract based on if the numbers are getting bigger or if they're getting smaller. So I'm going to do 486 and I'm going to divide by 162. And then I'm going to do 162 and divide by 54. And then I'll do 54 and divide by 18. And if all these are the same, then I know I got a common divisor, and we will go with geometric sequence. So I'm going to do 486 divide 162. Gives me 3. All right. I'm going to do 162 divide 54. Get 3. Okay, so right now I know that I'm going to take these numbers and divide by 3 every time. So if I take 486 divide by 3, it gives me 162. If I divide by 3, it gives me 54. Divide by 3 gives me 18. So if I just keep going, divide by 3, that gives me 6. So I'm going to enter 6 here. And then if we divide by 3, we get 2. So these will be my next two numbers, and that sequence is geometric.